Hello. Hey, how you
Is
doing?
this Arnold?
Yes, it is.
Hey Arnold, this is Tommy Bryson. This call's gonna be recorded and potentially uploaded to YouTube. How can I help?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I was really looking to get advice on my next steps, financial literacy. A
Okay.
little, a little information. I already have an emergency fund,
How much do you
investment
have?
portfolio. I have 2,500.
A
That's
emergency fund?
6 months for me. Yeah, that's for me.
S-
That's not that's 6 months worth for me.
Where do you live?
I live in South Carolina.
In South Carolina? You live with your mom or something?
No, me and my sister live together in the house that my grandma left us, so I
Okay.
live rent free.
Oh wow, so that's a massive help. So you're telling me
Indeed, indeed.
your only expenses are $416 per month?
My expenses in total is usually around 600 in total.
600 in total per month?
Yeah.
Well, 600 times 6 is 3600. You have 2500, so that's not a full emergency account.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So you have more like if you have 2500, if you want to see 600 times 3, you have more like a little over 4 to 5 months basically. But that's fine though. So tell me more. What's going
okay.
on?
Yeah, and my credit score is high, but I'm not really sure about what to do next because I want to increase my income. I want to get into real estate, but I don't really know the next step to get into it.
Okay. So what do you do now for work?
I work for Caterpillar.
For
The
a
found yeah, it's
Caterpillar?
yeah, it's the foundry, the heavy machinery. I make heavy machinery for
Oh, you make
ships and
heavy
stuff like that.
machinery for ships?
Yeah,
Okay. How much do you make per month?
per month in total, I make between 2,200 and 2,500 a month.
Okay, 2200 to 2500.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, here's what it sounds like to me. I have a job where I do heavy machinery work. I've
Hmm.
been trying to get my financial situation together, and now I'm getting close and closer, and I just want to know exactly what next steps to actually take. Sounds right?
Right.
Now, here are the questions I would ask myself. The first question is, do I have a budget? So, do you have a budget right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, you have four main things when it comes to a budget. You have shelter, utilities,
Hmm.
groceries, and lastly, transportation. In this
Right.
case, right, your shelter cost is basically just taxes and insurance because you have a paid for home. Your grandma left you. Utilities
Hmm.
are like light, internet, and gas. Probably not that much on your
Right.
side either. You have groceries. How much do you spend there per month?
Groceries, I spend about 100, 125.
Okay. And then lastly, you have transportation. Are you financing a car? Do you have a paid for car? What's the story there?
I just got a new car that I'm financing.
Okay. All right. So what car do you have?
I have a 2015 Kia Optima,
Okay. How much do you pay?
220 a month.
220 a month. How much does it cost? Like how much did it cost you?
10 grand.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other consumer debt? That means credit cards. That
No,
means personal loan debt. That means student loan debt.
no. I do have student loan,
Okay. How much?
5,000 student loan.
Okay. $5,000. All right. So
Hmm.
here's exactly what I would do here. Right. A lot of the times when you start to make money, we stop basically doing the right things because we don't have a name for money. Right. We don't really have a goal we're actually trying to get to. Financial freedom is very like it's a very big grandiose goal, but unless you know how to actually get there, you'll start to fumble here and there. Like you'll start to buy a car, buy things you actually don't need, and so on. Now the first thing is you want to get out of debt first, right? In this case, usually what I say is you save $1,000 first for emergencies. In your case, you already have, for example, $2,500. That's more than enough. And then you just usually just organize your debt using the avalanche method, meaning you pay the debt with the highest APR. In your case, it's going to be, for example, most likely the car loan and then after your student loan debt, right? Which one costs you the most money as far as, for example, interest?
Uh, the car.
right? So the question here is, right, I ask myself this every time. If I have this liability that cost me $10,000, do I want to keep it and pay it off during the next like 12 months as fast as possible? Or do I want to sell it, cut my losses, and buy, for example, a hoopty while I get my financial life started? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I never even considered that.
Yeah, because you could sell this car, by the way, right? What car did you drive before this one?
I had a BMW 2003.
2003, and was it paid off?
Yeah, that one was paid off.
Why,
The
why
only
did you
reason I
sell?
got another one was uh,
Yeah,
because it just shut down. The maintenance on it was getting too
too
much.
expensive. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So usually Toyotas, Mazdas, Hondas, those cars are usually going to be the most reliable and also very cheap to actually fix. Kias are great, but sometimes the parts aren't really available. You have to wait a little longer. So what I would say is this, right? If I were in your shoes, it's the only way I can see this problem is that if I have a car that's costing me $10,000, but I only make a year around $24,000 a year, the answer is I'll sell the car. If I can sell the
Okay.
car and then grab $1,000 to $2,000 and buy me, for example, a little used vehicle to get me from point A to point B, then I'll do that. So now once that car is taken care of, I use the rest of my income to try to get rid of the student loan debt. And then basically I save up like an additional month and a half towards my emergency fund to have a full-blown 6 months. So the first step is you become debt-free. The second step is you save a full-blown 6-month emergency account. 3 months is fine, but 6 months is better. And since you're almost there, why not just go ahead and complete it, right?
Right.
And then the next step is you just start investing, for example, into your retirement accounts. That means, for
Yeah.
example, your Roth IRA, your
Yeah, I
401k
have one of
account.
those already.
Okay, awesome. But you shouldn't be investing right now because you have debt. So when you have debt and you're paying somebody, for example, 8, 12%, 15, 16%, whatever it is, and then you're only making 8 to 10% of your portfolio, it just cancels out. So it's counterintuitive. So it's just best to go ahead and get rid of the debt first, and then now you have more income to basically go ahead and invest. Now, what I follow is the between 10 to 15 to 20% of your income can be used for investing, but one of those three numbers there, right? And then once you pick a number, you stick to it. So if you do 10%, fine. 15%, fine. 20%, fine. But then you don't change it up. So if you say, I'm going to invest 10% of my income, that's fine. You do that, put it into your Roth IRA, that's fine. Great. You put it into index funds. That way you have diversification and you also lower your risks. Now, one big thing is this, right? If your expenses are this low, what do you do with the rest of the money? Well, usually you start saving up for your own home. But in this case, I wouldn't do that here. In this case, what I would do
Yeah.
is just grab that money and put it towards you going ahead and either getting a license, a trade job, or a degree, whatever it is, to go ahead and try to upgrade your skills. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I want to ask you a question, Arnold. You've been blessed by your grandma. You know,
Yeah.
you have this home. You live with your sister. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 22.
Okay, you're super young, man. So that's awesome. So look, you're 22 years old. You live with your sister. What do you see yourself like staying in that house for like the next 5, 6, 10 years?
Yeah, I can say it. I wanted to enter real estate in between that time, but yeah, I want to do the house hacking method where I use buy a duplex, rent out the other side, and so forth. But
Okay.
I could stay here between that time.
Okay. Now the reason I asked you is basically if you want to get a real estate license, that's like a year, like 6 months to a year.
Okay.
You can do that also. But that job, obviously. By the way, you don't need a real estate license to get into real estate. I'm pretty sure you know that. The only
Yeah,
reason
I
you
knew
would
that.
want to get a real estate license is just to go out there and just like sell properties and so on to people, right? And do it, for example, like as a career. Is that what you want to do?
Right. Not really. I'm not really into that side of
Yeah.
real estate.
Then don't get a real estate license. So what you're gonna need is basically to get a career. When looking for a career, I look for three things: something I like, something I'm good at, and something that's gonna make me money. So the way I find those things out is I write down the top 10 careers that I would love to have. And I don't like say this was impossible or whatever. No, I write down the top 10 ones that I would love to have. And then you do all the research on these careers. Like how much do they pay annually? How long is it going to take me to actually get trained to actually get the career? Some might be, for example, a year. Some might be 2 years. Some might be 4 years. And then you pick one of those. That's the idea. You pick one, cross off the rest, you focus on that one, and you go after it. The goal is the career that you do end up picking, you have to like it, you have to be good at it, and it has to make you money. That way, while you're making all this extra money, you're also having fun and actually having fulfillment in the career. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
What is that?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting a second job. Would it not be a viable option? Like a part-time job, not a full-time.
The thing is,
Just
you could do that, right? That's fine. But the thing is, currently, you're making $2,400, $2,200 per month, right? You're working 40 hours a week?
Yeah. Well, actually, I work 180 hours a month. Sorry. So
yeah,
I work 50 hours every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So now let's say, for example, it's a lot of time. It's ridiculous. So now let's say, for example, you add another job. Well, now the thing is, right, I believe in 4 things: health, wealth, love, and happiness. So if you want to have a balanced life where you're actually happy and all these things, it just doesn't sound like a pretty happy life to me, where you're working 200 hours a month or whatever it is. It's ridiculous. So I would rather say you have this job right now, just stick to it right now. Your expenses are very, very low. So it gives you extra cash to basically fund your own career, whatever you actually want to do. And then if you're working 40 hours a week and making, for example, $40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 for the same time, it's a big difference, because now you still have all this free time to kind of like create your own life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's why I would prefer to say I'm going to use this extra time not to trade more time for money, but to invest into a career so that I can basically make more money for my time, because you only get paid based on your skills, and your skills right now are paying you that much.
Right. So can I run it back to you so I can make sure I got it right?
Yeah, go ahead.
The first thing I should do is lower my debt with my car.
First thing you should do is stop investing.
Oh yeah, I can turn that off right now.
Yeah.
But, stop investment, cut down my expenses with the debt.
But why? Tell me why though. Tell me why.
Why? On which one?
Take me back to those steps and tell me why. Because it's not what I tell you to do, it's why I tell you to do things, right? So why would you stop investing right now?
It's canceling out the money that I'm making from that versus the money that I'm putting out. So basically, I'm not gaining anything. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm not gaining anything on that. And as far as the car, I'd be doing 2 things: getting rid of the debt, and also increasing my income, saving money that I already have.
Good.
Like that. And the third, get a trade or skill. I'm going to have to do some self-reflection on that part to see what with that.
And don't overthink it, man. Don't overthink it. Don't think like this is like some magic thing where whatever you pick, you're stuck with. It's not like marriage. It's more like whatever you pick, if you try it out and you don't like it, you're 22 years old. You can it'll take you like a year or two to actually, by the way, if you can become like, get like an internship or like see how the work actually is by getting a chance to actually go there and experiment it, you do that. You try it out, see if you actually like it. It's not just as much as like, oh my, I love this job, because every job at some point is going to turn into a job, and that's fine. But it's important that you have fulfillment out of that job. So you try it out. If you like it, you like it. And if you feel like you're miserable and every atom in your body is like, I can't stand it here, then you can go ahead and just like pivot and switch to something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Honestly, I thought I was behind, but man, you make me sound like I'm pretty good.
Yeah, bro, you're pretty good. Just don't rush into things, you know? And one thing is, the rules I follow when buying real estate is usually you want to buy a property when you need it. You know, that's not my rule. It's Charlie Munger, the partner of Warren Buffett. And the whole goal is like, when you buy your first property, make sure that you actually need it. So for me, for example, I follow the 33% rule. Basically, the first property I buy is going to be, for example, my personal property, whether it's a duplex or whether, for example, it's a single family home. The duplex is great because you make income. The bad side is you make income by people living next to you. And sometimes you don't know who's going to be living next to you. And that might be, for example, like a whole problem. But if you're down for that, You buy a duplex, you follow the rule. The rule is the property I buy cannot exceed 33% of my monthly income on a 15-year mortgage, including all the expenses. For example, you have the mortgage, you have the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance of the property, and lastly, potentially even the HOA. So if you include all those things right there, and it does not go over 33% of your monthly income on a 15-year mortgage, that's a property you can actually go ahead and afford. Usually to buy that property, you're gonna have to get a little discount. So now when you buy this property, you should still have extra income left over to try to pay it off faster. So now if you're like 25, 26, you buy your first property, which is fine, or like even 28, because again, you're in a fortunate situation where basically you don't have any shelter costs. So that's awesome. So when you buy that property, if you pay extra towards it, well, now in 8 to 9 to 10 years, you're done with that property and it's fully yours. So now again, you're back in the same position where, hey, now I have this property with my grandma that can be rented out or whatever it is that can make me income, but I also have a paid off home. If you want to buy more real estate, that's great. Does that make sense? But you follow the same rules, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't get caught up, man, with because when I was 22 years old, 19 and 18, all those ages, I got really caught up with the idea that I need to have all this money. What you really need is to understand how much money you're going to need to live the lifestyle that you actually want. And if that, for example, is if you're comfortable on a lifestyle of $2,000 per month, then that's not going to take as much effort as it would if you want, for example, to have all these luxury things. Does that make sense?
Right. I'm a simple person. I don't really
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You could be done with this whole game in like 5 to 10 years. And then you're done. Now you're 32 years old. Yeah, bro.
Dang, okay, I'm really about to do that. I'm about to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you could be done with it, but the only thing that can that can cripple you is buying things you don't need. Like, oh, I need a car, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get into debt here, or I'm gonna go to school, so let me just get some student loan debt. No, just try to do things for cash. You do things slowly, you take your time with it. And just because everybody's buying a property doesn't mean you need a property. Like, what's the point of getting a property when you're 22 years old and you have, for example, like this property your grandma left you is a blessing and you don't have any expenses? Unless like your sister was toxic and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't live here. But it doesn't sound like that. So you're 10 times better off than most people are.
Yeah, I knew I was blessed with it. That's why I want to make the best of the opportunity. I knew,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So just to leave you on this call with some like action steps is just stop investing, focus on paying off your debts. Whether that's you sell the car, then you buy a little car to actually just get you from point A to point B. And once you're debt free, you save a full-blown emergency account. Then you focus on investing again between 10 to 20% of your income, and then you start investing into yourself. And then there's so many jobs out there that can pay you $40,000. And by the way, $40,000 to you is going to be so much money, because right now, guess what? You don't have that many expenses. So making $40,000 a year, and right now you only spend like around like almost like less than $12,000 a year you actually spend. You have all this extra income. If you want to buy a new car, go ahead and buy it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to start saving up for your house, you can do that also. But it gives you just a lot more options. The goal is not to get more jobs. The goal is to get better skills to increase your income that way. Okay?
Okay, I appreciate it, man. I really thank you.
I appreciate you, man. And by the way, Arnold, these calls are not like a one-time thing. So if you do run into trouble or you want to keep me updated with that stuff, just like basically schedule another call and I'll give you a call. Okay? Welcome to the long-term team.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. Peace out, bro.
Peace out.
All right, guys. So that right there was Arnold. And you see so many people that are just blessed, man. Like just amazing. Grandma leaves him a house. Now he has no expenses, and now he's trying to figure out, how can I increase my income? And the first thought that comes to his head is basically, I'm going to get another job. Makes no sense. Because if you are 50 hours a week is a lot of time, guys, and I've changed my perspective on a lot of things lately. The idea that, you got to work these 16-hour days. You got to work these 20-hour days. It's kind of like, is that really what you want to have for the rest of your life? You have people where basically they tell you, well, when I get to $100K per year or $1 million per year, that's when I'm going to go on vacation. That's when I'm going to go on this trip to Thailand or whatever it is. but it only costs like $2,000 to do that. So why wait until all the way then and amass all this crazy stuff just to get to that point? You know, sometimes simple is best. So if you can basically say, hey, I live here, I can upgrade my skill, get out of debt obviously first, and then basically make a ton more money, around like twice as much money with twice as less work, then and I also like it, why not do that? And he's only 22 years old. So that right there is just amazing to me. And then once you have all that money, you're making 40,000, 50,000. By the way, this is what I say, guys, okay? The amount of money you make is not the problem. It's the money you have going out that's the problem. If you make $1 million, you might say, so much money. But if you have going out $1.2 million per year, you're like, this guy's in trouble. So you make $40,000 a year, but you only have going out, for example, like $12,000, $15,000 a year. You're like, what? You have around like, what is it, like $25,000 in disposable income? That is awesome. That is amazing. That's what you want to get to. So you're investing now. You're saving up for a property to actually buy it the correct way. You buy that property, you pay it off fast. Now you have this one property with your sister. You also have your personal property for your wife, your kids, and all that stuff. And then you want to get into more properties eventually. You study the same rules, then you're good to go, right? That to me is awesome. That to me is financial freedom. But the idea of like, I'm gonna get 5 duplexes, go into crazy amount of debt, I'm gonna get this BMW here, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get this. It just sounds like a lot of impatience to me. Be patient, step by step, you'll get there. Welcome to the long-term team, guys, okay? If you guys want to join me on my next call, well, feel free to do so. These calls are free from Monday to Friday, and you can schedule one by clicking the link down below and basically schedule a call with me from Mondays to Friday. On top of that, also like these videos. It helps a lot, push the channel even further. That way, I continue to make more and more and more of this content. On top of that, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, follow me here at Tommy Bryson on Instagram. And also, if you want more content like this, here is another call right here, and click my face right here. And by the way, I'm thinking about bringing these calls on live. So pretty soon that's gonna happen. So we're gonna have live calls coming in. So that should be very, very exciting. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.